In his criticism of Ukraine's leader, Donald Trump has made it more evident than ever that he prioritizes power over friendships, sending a chilling message to America's global network of allies. For 8 decades since World War II, the United States has aimed to lead a global order by promoting international rules and ensuring the security of democracies in Europe and East Asia, as well as oil-rich Gulf Arab monarchies. U.S. presidents, often calling themselves leaders of the free world, have previously reduced or weakened support for dependent partners, including Afghanistan, South Vietnam, and Taiwan, when establishing relations with Beijing. However, there was little precedent for the dramatic, on-camera incident Friday in the Oval Office where Trump and Vice President James David Vance criticized Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky has relied on Western support to withstand a 3-year Russian invasion. Vance accused Zelensky of being ungrateful for the billions of dollars in U.S. assistance. Trump emphasized the U.S. allies' vulnerability by angrily telling him, "You don't have the cards." Days earlier, Trump declared that he was making a decisive break with past U.S. foreign policy, which he described as foolish and responsible for the deaths of many, many people. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has advocated for the United States to act like Russia and China in prioritizing self-interest, contrasting with former President Joseph Biden, who prioritized alliances as a force multiplier for U.S. influence. Profound shift on democracy. Trump has long described NATO allies as trade competitors who benefit from the U.S. military without contributing their fair share. Although last week he voiced support for the alliance's mutual defense commitment, he mocked Zelensky as a dictator for not holding elections since the invasion while praising Vladimir Putin, who has been president or prime minister of Russia for 25 years. Trump has also refused to rule out military force to seize Greenland and the Panama Canal, stating that the United States should take what it wants, similar to Russia. Washington's previous advocacy for democracy has often been criticized as hypocritical, but now there is no pretense that the United States is upholding those values. Max Bergman, director of the Europe, Russia, and Eurasia program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, stated that this shift will be detrimental to emerging democracies around the world, democratic movements, and human rights. He described it as a profound shift in the international global order. Bergman noted that Trump is providing a significant opportunity for rival China. The United States has been trying to convince countries that when you do deals with China, China could betray you, Bergman said. Well, here's the United States essentially doing the ultimate betrayal, or completely switching sides by stopping support for a democracy at war. Message on Taiwan. European leaders immediately spoke of ramping up defense without the United States. German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock remarked that a new age of infamy has begun after the unspeakable scene in the White House. Among places feeling the greatest impact are former Soviet bloc nations that eagerly joined NATO for protection against Moscow and Taiwan, the self-governing democracy claimed by Beijing. Trump stated on Monday that a Chinese invasion would be a catastrophic event, as Taiwanese chip-making giant Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company announced $100 billion of investment in the United States. Bonnie Glaser, managing director of the German Marshall Fund's Indo-Pacific program, said Taiwan has reason to be nervous. Unlike Ukraine, which has backing from nearly all of Europe, Taiwan relies exclusively on the United States for weapons. However, she noted that economic stakes make the situations different, and pointed to Taiwan's influence as the world's foremost chipmaker and a major investor. In Trump's words to Zelensky, Taiwan has cards, Glaser said, though the U.S. president himself mentioned on Monday that the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company deal could slightly mitigate that advantage. Joshua Rovner, a political scientist at American University, said Trump sees uncertainty as part of his strategy. In his first term, despite criticizing Europe, he actually increased U.S. troop levels on the continent. Trump's language can be interpreted in many different ways, Rovner said. What really matters is what he ultimately does with U.S. forces.